found that my metabolic shift was easier than this mental shift. At least if I'm hungry for something or snacking, I know I can grab for my deviled eggs, or I can grab for a handful of nuts. I have my foods already lined up in my pantry. I know what I can grab for, and I know why I'm grabbing for it, because I know what will bring, what the outcome will bring. When it comes to this mental action, oh boy, it's been throwing me a little bit for a loop, because, again, we think about that idea of ignorance, just being unaware. And the unconscious thoughts that can actually pop up in our psyche, and we're like, wait a minute, was I just thinking about that about myself? These thoughts can just kind of creep up into our unawareness and then comes through to our awareness, right? So we have to be able to create a plethora, a group of better thoughts to be thinking when we find ourselves slipping into maybe some negative rumination. So let's talk about mental action, okay? Remember again, this is in your shift module 3, Insider Works, okay? I have my paper all locked out here, and you can be writing in there as we go along, or just in your journal, or just, however you want to participate, okay? But I saw this quote recently. I'm reading Deepak Chopra, his quantum healing book, okay? And he says this: every cell in your body is eavesdropping on your thoughts. Isn't that profound? Every cell in my body is eavesdropping on my thoughts. Well, I sure as heck better make sure that my thoughts are, at the very least, good, right? Interestingly, when you think about the chemicals that are produced by our brain, they're called neuropeptides, or they're messengers. So anytime I'm thinking a thought, it actually can manifest, be created into an actual reality. Think about a person who gets nervous and gets itchy hives. Think about someone who develops a headache every time they're in a certain situation. Think about someone with post-traumatic stress disorder and hears a motorcycle roll past and their heart rate just springs and they perspire, right? So basically our thoughts literally manifest and create situations within our body. Every cell in your body is eavesdropping on your thoughts. So we come to this concept, and I think I've mentioned this to you before. It's called allostatic load or burden, okay? And what it refers to, we talk about metabolic burden, glucose, an overburden of glucose creates a situation within our body that is certainly compromising, right? Well, allostatic load refers to an accumulation of stress, an accumulation of negative energy. Whether it's presented, you can think about when your cortisol levels are raised, basically our body needs to produce even more insulin for that action to take place. Because, if cortisol is raised, it usually means we're in a situation where our body thinks it's in fight or flight, and we've got to be ready to run. Okay, so cortisol will trump the working of insulin. Like my daughter is type 1 diabetic, and she has to inject insulin. Her pancreas doesn't do it for her naturally. She knows that when she's under the gun stress, when she was in college or now that she's in the working world, she'll notice that when she's stressed, she has to actually use more insulin to get that blood sugar lowering phenomenon to happen. So our allostatic load is a buildup of stress that can then burden or start to deteriorate. Things like challenging our immune system, deteriorating tissues, delicate tissues. So think about heart disease, think about Alzheimer's. So think about an individual who has been under a lot of stress, and then you see them months later and they look as if they've aged. That's a representation or an example of an allostatic load. So the thoughts we think, the stress that we feel, produces those chemicals we talked about, neuropeptides, and they're messengers that can actually change the physiology of our body. This is why shifting both metabolically and mentally is so important. Once we get our metabolic shift going and we're sailing with it, that's great. But let's follow through and make sure the mental game keeps us, sailing along in that trajectory. Because again, I know I'm finding this out myself. I need a lot of work in keeping these thoughts from being saboteurs. Okay, that's in your workbook there. The idea of sabotage, so thoughts can be sabotaging, right? Or they can be, obviously, supporting. We want to think thoughts that are supporting us, okay? This is going to contribute to allostatic load, physiological breakdown or deterioration, and of course, supporting is going to be, obviously, supporting great, magnificent health. This is something that also can translate into food. We used to choose foods that were sabotaging us, right? Because we just didn't know. We were unaware. We were ignorant. Just unaware. Now we choose foods to the best of our ability, as often as we can, that are supporting of our metabolic health. And now we're going to do the same thing with the thoughts that we think. Now, at this point of the game, if this feels a little bit repetitious from our last module we talked about training and taming the brain, right? Understanding the science behind why we tend to dwell on the negative. Because we're primarily wired to avoid pleasure and to preserve life. Okay? So we need to reinforce this concept. Repetition breeds mastery. So the more we can look at the concept of thinking good thoughts, that sounds really simple, doesn't it? But when we understand the science and the physiology that manifests from it and repeat that over and over, it becomes habit for us. Same thing with the foods we are choosing. We need to talk about it and implement it many, many, many days, months. And I know myself, I'm 5 years in. So this repetition is really important. And here's I had seen this on I was out visiting my son Charlie out in Los Angeles a few years back, and I had seen on like a marquee, believe it or not, I was at a dry cleaner's, but it said, in life we don't get what we deserve. In life we don't get what we deserve. We get what we think we deserve. Isn't that powerful? In life we don't get what we deserve, we get what we think we deserve. So what do you think I did? I had to look up the word deserve. When you look up the word deserve in the dictionary, okay, that's where I go. This is what it actually means from its Latin derivative. Latin derivative of deserve means to serve diligently. To deserve. The Latin base of the word deserve means to serve diligently. We are responsible for serving ourselves, each of us individually, diligently, right? Is anyone taking care of you necessarily? Now that we're adults, is anyone saying, oh, let me handle your fibromyalgia problem. Let me take care of your diabetes for you. Let me handle your heart disease. Okay, let me handle taking care of your body and helping you establish it to be anti-cancer, non-friendly to cancer. No one takes your problem and solves it for you. You have to serve yourself diligently. Most times today when you hear the word deserve, we think of things like this: to have the right because of acts or because of qualities about you, to have a right to something, or the other one, of course, to be worthy of something. Okay, I want you to think of the word deserve as to serve yourself diligently. Okay, diligently. And when it comes to our thoughts, we need to serve ourselves diligently, paying attention over and over to the thoughts we are thinking. And if you think about words and ideas that are sabotaging or supporting, you might already have a list. Perhaps you've already paid attention to the thoughts that are in your head. Sometimes, I know at first, sometimes I didn't even think I was saying things or thinking things. Or if I say, oh, I'm so stupid. You know, a lot of times we do things like that just to kind of brush things off. And it takes someone who really loves us to say, don't say that about yourself, right? I want you to think about this one. Have you ever felt this way? I'll never lose. I wish I had written it there. But there I go. I'll never lose the weight. A lot of individuals come, we find each other and shift, oftentimes from that lens of weight loss. And we quickly learn that weight loss is secondary, that health gain will start to establish, and weight loss happens because of health restoration. But I want you to think of this. If you've ever thought to yourself, I'll never lose the weight, I won't be able to lose it. A supporting way to look at that is to say it this way. Well, of course, instead of I'll never, we can say I will, right? Because that's obviously never's a negative, will is a positive. But instead of saying I'll never lose weight, how about saying I will use the weight? Because when you are shifting, what you're really doing is using that stored energy, it's body fat, to fuel your day. So as you continue to shift, if this ever creeps up into your subconscious or conscious, you're aware that you're saying it to yourself, I'll never lose the last 5 pounds. I'll never lose. Remind yourself, not only will I use the weight to fuel my day, I'm actually using my excess body fat, weight, to fuel my day. So you will lose the weight because you're going to use the weight. And it's just a more positive way, and it's actually really even more accurate because you can't actually lose body fat. Body fat is energy, and energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be changed. So you're not losing body fat. You're using body fat, okay? Sometimes I've heard people say to this, I've struggled for years. And I know, I struggled for years trying to help my daughter. I know that feeling of desperation and despair that can creep in when you feel like you never can do it. Struggled. Okay? Positive way of saying, I struggled for years, because what you're doing with shift is, first of all, I am. That's a very powerful statement. I am, and what comes after. So instead of the past tense, and that's really past, you know, past is past. It's done. There's nothing about the past that can capture us, trip us, in any way empower us, even hold us back, unless we bring it into the present, because we're thinking about it. Okay, but it's past and it's done. Right now, now is the power, is the place of power. Louise Hay always says that. Now is the place of power. So what you're doing now, you're applying. Remember we talked about that word applying? We talk about those words of attending and engaging and applying and creating. So I am applying. I am attending. Engaging and creating, right? There's the words that we use in this particular module. So sometimes if you're having a moment, whether it's, no matter what it's about, maybe you just had maybe yesterday just things didn't go your way and you felt like you struggled a lot, you know? Okay, honor that and allow it because it was real, you felt it. So you never deny what you're feeling. And you don't deny what you're thinking either. You're thinking it for a reason. But then you have that awareness, you have that conscious affirmative action that you're thinking about doing, and just take those and put it into an I am statement. And make it a present tense. I am applying. I am solving. I am attending, I'm engaging, I am creating. I love that. I love creating. So you are putting the power where it belongs and where it can only be, in the now. There's no power in the past, and there's no power in the future. We're not there yet. The only power that you have is right here,